grab a drink, sit back, and explore the paranormal with us. Welcome to the Necromancer live show. This stream will begin in time. Thank you for your patience. Grab a drink, sit back, and explore the paranormal with us. Welcome to the Necromancer live show. This stream will begin in time. Thank you for your patience. Grab a drink, sit back, and explore the paranormal with us. Welcome to the Necromancer live show. This stream will begin in time. Thank you for your patience. Grab a drink, sit back, and explore the paranormal with us. Welcome to the Necromancer live show. This stream will begin in time. Thank you for your patience. Grab a drink, sit back, and explore the paranormal with us. Welcome to the Necromancer live show. This stream will begin in time. Thank you for your patience. Grab a drink, sit back, and explore the paranormal with us.
As far back as I can remember, I dreamt of a normal life. A life filled with normal things. A life where monsters don't live in closets or under the bed. A life where ghosts aren't real. I just wanted to be normal. But that didn't happen. It wasn't meant to be. Since my early 20s, I have experienced profound paranormal events that would change my life. Extreme poltergeist activity, living amongst those that have departed this earth in ways unimaginable. It has affected my loved ones and children with no end in sight. I could hear things, see things, and feel things not of this world. I asked myself if this was a gift or a curse. With the help of my mother and close friends, I emerged a paranormal investigator. Since 2013, I have been on a relentless journey to learn about the paranormal. I invite you to follow me into the unknown. Welcome to the Necromancer live show.
Hello. Welcome to the Necromancer live show. I'm your host, Justin Brown. And by popular demand, well, let's just say popular vote, As you know, I've been putting up a poll with I think consistently 4 options. I tried to change them up every single time. And tonight, people want me to talk about cemeteries and the potential of them being haunted. Are cemeteries haunted in general? Or are just some cemeteries haunted? That is the question we will be discussing. And Missy will be here too with the chat, with me, with all of us.
Hello.
So, cemeteries. I know you have issues with funerals, but what about cemeteries? Are they just you walk into it and it's like nothing but the deceased chatting you up, just or what is it like?
Hi, Heath. um, it's not like thriller, like, zombies coming at you or whatever.
That would be
I don't
crazy
know. I get a worse feeling from a funeral home than I do a cemetery.
because there's a body being focused on in the room.
Well, no, it's like I told Clayton, it's kind of like, for me, it's kind of like the Mandela effect. He's here, and you can physically tell that he's dead, but then he's right there asking me how I am.
Is that every funeral?
Oh yeah,
Every single one?
yeah.
Huh. I've only had one that weird stuff happened. But I would think anybody who has, we're going to call them abilities, to see things that most people do not see, that would be something that your abilities would be a con. I don't know. Maybe some people might think it's not a con. Let me know in the chat if you were a medium and you went to a funeral and they're like there in spirit next to their casket with them in it. Would that bother you? Does it matter if you know them or not? How much it bothers you, or is
Well,
it just distracting? Like, why does it bother you?
like the person that we went to the layout for the other day, I've known him my entire life, and it's
Ah,
been a little while since I've seen him.
mm-hmm.
But every time I see him, he walks up, he hugs me, he asks me how I am, and we're off on our, separate ways unless, I have something to report or he has something to report or, whatever.
Right.
And it's, you know, it was just that, like, he was almost like a grandpa to me, but I didn't see him that often.
So when you go to a cemetery, it's not the same,
No.
unless it's a cemetery where your family and friends are buried, or it's
Well,
not that at
not
all.
even then. Like,
Well,
Casey said once he was 3.5, and we had dropped him off at mom's, so we could go to the cemetery. Clayton said we were going to the cemetery. We were going to drop Casey off at mom's and go to the cemetery to see his mom. And I said, okay, that's fine. And Casey goes, he looks at mom and he says, Grandma, I don't know why they go there. And mom said, what do you mean, buddy? Why wouldn't they go there? And he said, well, Grandma's right here. And he points at his room that he has at Grandma's house. And he said, she's here to protect me.
Hmm. And he just sees a full-bodied apparition like she's living.
Yeah. One night he was asleep. He was dead asleep, and I heard him talking. And I walked out of the bedroom and into his room. And as I got into his room, he says, Grandma Sue, it's okay. You can go. Just don't watch me sleep.
And how old was he?
3.5.
Huh. So, I know we're kind of off topic. We'll get back to the cemeteries, folks. But you got me curious about Casey and you. Do you feel like your abilities are linked genetically?
I don't know. I don't know if it was his age or what. But he'll come down the stairs even now at 26 and he's like, Mom, did you holler for me? And I'm like, no, I didn't say anything. He's like, okay.
Well,
And
that's
he'll
a
go
lot. That's a
upstairs.
lot different though than what you're saying.
Yeah. But he's not reported any of that since he was 3.5.
So you just think his age and the fact that you guys may have been talking about certain aspects of your spirituality to kind of leave that open.
Yeah.
It's not like, that was like a weird taboo thing in the house. So
Right.
I was just curious because I kind of felt like, when we talked about your abilities, they kind of they seem to be triggered after your aneurysm.
Mm-hmm.
So, because no one else really in your family has abilities that you know of, right?
No, not that I know of. The only other person that I've heard that I'm related to directly or indirectly who channeled was Cliff. And he was telling you guys that story in his interview.
Mm-hmm. I feel like there's something going on there somewhere, but you're going to have to do some digging and research on that one probably. But anyway, back to the cemetery topic. I personally feel that when you ask the question, are cemeteries haunted? To say that all cemeteries have a potential of being haunted because of folks being buried there does not seem like it aligns with people who are buried all over the face of the earth. Let's just face it. Some people are living on top of cemeteries that with headstones removed. And I know that's the, premise to a lot of horror movies like Poltergeist and other stuff. If you're on top of a burial, that's, some type of recipe for a haunting. And a lot of people would believe that. So let's start from there. In my personal opinion, I feel like hauntings are disturbances. They are not normal. It is an anomaly. It's an anomalous phenomena, and it's based off a disturbance. And what do I mean by disturbance? Well, hauntings are generally caused by either psychokinetic phenomena or spiritual phenomena. The spiritual phenomena tends to be disturbing if you want to classify it as haunted. Haunted usually doesn't have a good, connotation. It's usually disturbing. So there's a disturbance. What is the disturbance? Well, there could be someone there that's not happy, or there could be someone there that's needing help, or it could be someone there wanting no good for you or your family. Someone or something. So this could be the same for the cemetery, right? If there's the disturbance in the cemetery, what could be the source of that? I know one cemetery that I've done a lot of research over the years that you've been to, Missy, called Elizabeth's Grave.
Mm-hmm.
That cemetery is not a normal cemetery.
No.
That one's messed up because it went abandoned. No one took care of it. Kids run amok there. They knocked down a whole bunch of headstones and piled up in the corner. It's just it's a nightmarish condition for a cemetery. And based off all the research and books I've read about cemeteries and haunted ones, they all share a theme to where the burials are disturbed or something like that that causes them to have hauntings. So in those cases, I believe that is like a perfect thing to do if you want to create a haunting, is go screw up a cemetery. Other things like witches, I don't want to say this is all witches. I don't want to say this is all people in the occult, but some people in the occult go to cemeteries to do ritualistic magic and other things. And that causes issues. So that would, give a recipe or some type of reason why that might be haunted. But I know a lot of folks in the ghost hunting community and the paranormal research community seek out cemeteries to see if they can communicate, like a lot of ITC research, EVP research. And I've been there just, investigating claims of what I've read. Like there's apparitions, there's this, there's that. There's cemeteries where headstones glow. That's like a very common, story that people hear about. Apparitions.
We have one here in Aurora.
Mm-hmm. What is it?
What a glowing headstone is supposed to glow.
Oh, that's right. You told me about that.
Hi, Amber. How are you?
What's up, Amber? I see you there, Joseph. Thank you for joining us. I know Heath's in the chat. Did Maisie let us know how to pronounce her name? Maisie? I don't want to say it wrong.
I said it right. Maisie.
Okay.
Derek is watching on another platform. He just hasn't commented, but he was busy, so.
Mm-hmm. He's blaring it out at the making his shampoo.
Yeah.
talking about the haunted cemeteries.
Yep.
That's pretty sweet. Shout out to Derek Schreiner. Anyway, I know a lot of people frown on investigating cemeteries, and I feel like Maisie, thank you. Thank you. See, now I know. If you've done that for me more than or before, I apologize.
I'm doing well. How are y'all doing? We're good.
I'm good. Tired but good. But
hi, Sam.
What's up, Sam? Missy? Do you think it's unethical to investigate just a random cemetery in your town, whether it has claims or not, or stories or not? There's hundreds of people's families buried there.
No. I wouldn't think so. I mean, as long as you put the intent out there that you're not there to, disrespect anybody or anything.
Okay. So, what if Derek won't mind if I use this analogy. What if Derek passes away and he's buried in the cemetery down the road, and somebody goes there, walks up to his headstone, and then breaks out a spirit box and starts saying his name and asking if he's there and stuff? Would that bother you?
No.
No?
No.
No. Okay. Some people it does.
Would it bother you? If
yes.
It were your Christy?
If it was anybody. See, here's the thing. I feel like when you go to a cemetery, you go there to pay your respects or pray or communicate with your loved ones, your friends, not random folks.
Right.
Like, I don't go up to, just random, headstones and start trying to interact with random headstones. I feel like some may not care, but most probably would. It's like, I don't know. It's a touchy subject. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like it's the same reason for everyone.
Right.
But how many videos, thanks for sharing, Wes, by the way. Appreciate that. Or he liked it. He didn't share. He liked the stream.
He likes the stream every week.
I know. I mean to shout him out every time I see the alert, but most of the time I forget. But anyway, everybody has their reasons, but I think most come down to just being disrespectful, disturbing a resting place
Right.
with people's occult practices. Because a lot of people are
Right.
just Christian, and what we're doing is an occult practice. I mean,
True.
it. To be fair, it is. You're doing an occult. You're doing occult work at a cemetery. Now, see, since we're occultists, in a sense, I consider myself an occultist. If you're doing any energy work, magic, necromancy, you name it, it's in the cult. So if you're going to a seminary doing occult things, that's going to upset some folks. So just putting that out there. But let me know in the chat if you think most cemeteries, maybe if not all, most cemeteries are haunted because people lay to rest there. And since they lay to rest there, the correlation between folks who are laid to rest and spiritual presences, do you think there's a correlation with that? And if so, does that make cemeteries haunted, or does that just make cemeteries places where spirits can interact? Because if you think about it, when you go there, people are constantly going to, interact. A lot of people just go there in silence, just to, be with their loved ones' grave. But a lot go to communicate, a lot go to, connect. It's almost like the grave is a conduit in a sense. So let's talk about the succession of people visiting a cemetery and connecting with their lost loved ones over and over and over, day in and day out, when the weather's fair. What does that do?
Justin, would you feel the same if a grave with a grave that was 200 years old?
That's a good question. That is a very good question. So let's just say you go to an old cemetery, there is someone there that's laid to rest, and it's from 200 years ago. All right. So the chances of you offending someone is way less than. So the ethics aren't the same as someone who's just passed in the last 10, 20, 50 years. Okay. I think it's different. But there are still ethics involved, in my opinion, just not the same kind. Because you're not really upsetting someone's loved one, but you're upsetting maybe the people who are running the cemetery. Maybe there's some historians that you could be upsetting. Maybe there's a community of people that are just upset over just the fact that you're even there doing that. So you're still in that gray area of ethics.
Well, welcome,
But it's not
Sarah. Sarah Russell, she said hello from Provoke Paranormal Society.
Hello, Sarah. Welcome. We are chatting about cemeteries and whether they are the potential of them being haunted. So I know of one that I know is haunted, and that would be Elizabeth's grave that we mentioned before. Do you know of one, Missy?
One. Besides Elizabeth's grave. I know
What's
of
that?
one. I've investigated 3 cemeteries.
Oh, I know what you're going to say. Deb's.
No.
No.
Deb's
Oh.
what we never got any activity in the graveyard. At a certain time of night, the head of the family, I have forgotten what his name is now, but he would come, he would walk the perimeter of the property.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the only activity we ever got in the graveyard. Hi, Philip. How are you tonight?
What's up, Philip? Gibson.
Where were we?
Haunted cemetery.
Remember? No, I don't remember where the cemetery was. It's a German cemetery
In Indiana?
in Indiana. And there were people ever out there. You just couldn't understand a dang thing they said because all of them spoke German.
Uh-oh.
I know
So
one that's very haunted. Grace Lawn Cemetery here in Elkhart, Indiana.
that's the one he frequents. I know he posts about it.
Hmm.
Pretty sure that's the one he. There's a little girl, I believe he says is there, or is it a little boy? I can't remember.
I think
He'll
it's a
let us
little
know.
girl. Yeah. But
So, so is it just for you, haunted for you, or is everybody that goes there experiences things?
we we got some EVPs. Uh, of course, they were voices, but you couldn't understand a thing that they were saying because it was in German. So
Even
everybody
did you try translating it?
everybody felt something different that night. And I took I think he was 14 at the time, a 14-year-old with me that night.
Okay.
And he was like, it's like, that's weird. He's like, that doesn't feel good. I'm like, "Well, then don't stand there."
Oh my god, that's so hilarious. That don't feel good. Don't stand there. That's interesting. So, um, yeah, I think that. How many cemeteries do you think you've visited, seeking out the paranormal?
Great.
3?
Yep.
Huh.
Elizabeth's grave, the one behind Deb's old house, and the German cemetery. I know of 3 cemeteries over here in Spokane, but I think it's because there's other hidden facts as to why it's haunted. Philip said a little boy. Every time I go, I capture EVPs of him speaking to me in the same 2 spots in the cemetery.
See, that's interesting because Elizabeth's grave, it's associate the activity associated in certain spots.
Right.
So that tends to is that it tends to make you think about why those spots. Is it because someone's buried there, or if not, what? It's a legitimate question. What now? I'm going to assume he didn't say it was next to the grave of the little boy, but I'm going to assume that's why you were getting the EVPs there. Is that why you think, Philip, or no? Because I feel like there should be some kind of correlation between people who are laid to rest in certain areas and why it's haunted. If it's you know more concentrated in one area versus the rest of the cemetery, right? So
Well,
that's
like you, we were, when we were coming back from the fair, we were walking, and you got to a certain spot in front of the casket company, in front of what is now the casket company, and your voice kind of changed. And I
like
don't know if you realized it,
it
but
got higher, deeper. Like, what do you mean it changed?
it got kind of deeper.
Okay.
But that used to be Riverview Cemetery.
Oh, where the casket company was. That's right.
Yes.
Derek told me that.
Yeah.
You think that's because that's why my voice changed?
We got to this certain spot and your voice changed, and then we got, the further we got away from it, the more normal you sounded again.
Did Does that happen other times?
No. It's
You're just
never happened
wait.
to me.
You or I'm talking about me.
Oh, no. I've never had that happen to you before.
Okay.
Not while I was paying attention.
But you think it's because there's a cemetery there.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I'll have to try to pay attention to that. I'm completely unaware. I know I feel things all the time. Uh-oh.
Well, yeah.
Especially in Aurora.
Hmm.
When you walked Hillsborough, did you pick up on anything, or did it feel dead?
And like the Opera House, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
There were people staring out the windows at us, watching us walk by.
Did you mention that? I feel like you did.
I did.
I think I remember that. Yeah, the poor Hillsborough. It's getting run down. We're losing all of our old buildings, but our cemeteries are getting bigger.
Do you believe all cemeteries are haunted?
No. But I'll say this. I feel like anyone can have a spiritual experience in the cemetery, but that doesn't mean it's haunted. So like I said earlier in the show, my definition of haunted means there's some kind of disturbance at a location. Whether that be, someone who needs help that's trapped or lost or something like that, or someone who is trying to do you harm or disturbing you for whatever reason, if they're just that kind of a person or whatever, or something inhuman.
Jeffrey Funk said, I was a teen walking through cemetery as a shortcut to my grandparents' house as we lived on opposite sides, past a cornfield, when I heard a young woman's voice yelling, help. I went into the cemetery to search. Did you find anything?
That's the next episode. You have to wait till the next episode. I know the stories and experiences people have near or in cemeteries is mind-bogglingly huge. Mm-hmm. Like if you look on the internet or look at books and literature and history, cemeteries and ghostly spiritual phenomena go hand in hand.
I couldn't find a grave of a kid nearby. This is Philip's comment. Mm-hmm. He said, here's where it gets interesting. I honestly believe that he either followed me from the sheriff's residence at the old Blackford County Jail in Warsaw, Indiana, to the cemetery or vice versa. He sounds like the same kid, but I've never got a name. Once I asked him if he followed me, and he said yes. Now he doesn't show up as often to me at the old jail in Warsaw. It's strange.
Like I said before, before we get to Jeffrey's comment there, cemeteries are places where people communicate to the deceased, right? So to me, I asked the question before, do you feel like cemeteries are places, of connection to the other side because they're so oftenly used for that purpose? And I feel like that is very, very possible, and that's something I would love to research. I feel like we should try to figure out if it's just us believing that it's a place that we can communicate more, so we're opening up that ability more, or if it's actually the physical location causing the communication to be better or more prevalent. Now yell from rear of it. I go to rear, but now voices and uncle's field behind it. I go into field, but voice yells help, and orchard behind field. I go in and orchard. So the voice is moving around. Mm-hmm. That happens. Especially if you're dealing with some kind of transient phenomena, or it's trying to lure you, or if it's a voice that seems like it's coming from somewhere, but that directionality is not correct. Who knows? Who knows? So, what do you think, Philip? Do you think cemeteries are places where you can connect with anything and anyone? Because of the reasons I mentioned. Go ahead, Missy.
Amber said, there's one small cemetery I've been to many times, and there's two spirits that always come through. The crazy thing is, We've been to massive ones that have over 36,000 burials with
That's a lot.
historical people and got almost nothing. Gave me a new perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Maisie says, she asked, what do you think about Casey's Cemetery, the Gates of Hell in Kentucky?
I'm not familiar.
I'm not either.
We can spell just like your son's name, right?
Yep, that's how she spelled it.
In what part of Kentucky she say?
She didn't say which part.
Okay. Gates of Hell. No, we don't want that. The Gates of Hell, this rural cemetery, is one of the most haunted places in Kentucky. We visited Casey Cemetery in Elizabethtown with Beth Pinotti, a paranormal explorer, and did scientific research at one of the most haunted places in Kentucky, nicknamed the Gates of Hell. Here, Pinotti leads Courier journalist columnist Maggie Mendersky, along with investigator Susan Baucom, Emily Baucom, and Jordan Fish out of the cemetery after a 4-hour investigation on October 17, 2021. We visited Casey Cemetery, blah, 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 paranormal explorer, blah, blah, hell. Let's see here. Why do they call it the Gates of Hell?
I don't know.
Casey Cemetery near Elizabethtown is considered one of the most haunted places in Kentucky. The small family cemetery is home to many. It reminds me of the cemetery at Moonville Tunnel. That's how old it looks. I mean, look at it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's a headstone you would see at Elizabeth's grave, but it's in the middle of the woods. It looks like it's abandoned. No one's taking care. So these cemeteries have larger potentials, in my opinion, to have spiritual presences. Okay, that looks almost exactly like the cemetery at Moonville. So this is on top of a hill. God, that looks... If it had that big old creepy tree like the one we know of, it would look exactly like it. And former paranormal explorer and decided to resemble this. Oh, it's repeating itself.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know why they call it the Gates of Hell.
I don't know.
Voice moves to field. I read all that already.
I later learned the voice moved around. He said it was a sunny day with snow on the ground, no footprints but mine. And then he said, I later learned that my grandmother had the exact same thing decades earlier when she was a young adult.
That's interesting.
Philip said, to be honest, I can't understand why they would want to hang out in a cemetery. Maybe it's because of one of the reasons why I enjoy them, the peacefulness. I bring him toys when I go to the cemetery based on what he tells me that he wants. He's told me trains, cars, suckers, etc. He has all kinds of toys in the hollow section of a tree stump, which is one of the 2 locations.
So let me ask you a question, Phil. Do you believe that since you're communicating with him in the cemeteries that he's there in the cemetery, or do you believe that he's not really anywhere where you're at? You're just communicating with him remotely from where you're at.
Gotcha. Maisie said Bishop James Long named it. If you look on his website, I think he has written about it, but he's definitely spoken about it on his podcast.
Really? I want to have to read up on that more. Because let me see how far this away is from me.
It's 2 hours and 11 minutes away from me.
Okay. Elizabethtown. No. Let's see. So it's down past Louisville. That's not very far.
No.
Because we're here. Maps. We'll find out how far away it is.
Okay.
Boom. See. 3 hours from me, bro. That's not that far.
No.
So, let's see if we can find the cemetery. Let's look around here. Let's just make this a lot easier. Casey Cemetery. What the hell? Saying that it's called Hardin Memorial Park Cemetery, not Casey Cemetery. Is that right? Is this the same cemetery? Can't be. The one we were looking at looked abandoned and this one's not, so that can't be. It's got to be on the outskirts of town, wherever that is. We'll find it. Because I definitely want this on my radar. Definitely if we're in the area. Okay. Yeah, it just says we visited Casey Cemetery in Elizabethtown. So maybe you guys can... What's up, Sam? We could try to find this. So let's go back here. We can go back. I thought. Let's go here. Let's see. See if we can find this sucker. There's videos of it, obviously. I want to know where it is.
Casey Cemetery is in Breckenridge County, Kentucky. According to MapQuest. Or according to Google Maps. Breckenridge County, Kentucky.
Bay Area Ghost. What was the question I just got here? We're talking about cemeteries and whether they're haunted, if all of them's haunted or if it's just certain ones. And we're looking at a particular one from a comic called Casey Cemetery.
It's in Vine Grove, Kentucky.
Vine Grove, Kentucky. Okay. Let's see if we can find it. It's going to be small.
Bay Area Ghost said it's in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. But we're not finding that on the map.
St. Bridget Cemetery.
Philip said, to be honest, I don't believe he's actually speaking to me from the cemetery itself. I could be wrong, though. Once there was a man coming through that did not want me talking to him. I've even imagined that maybe in our reality it's a cemetery, and in his reality it could be his yard where he's played, and the man could be his father not wanting his child talking to a stranger, me, bringing him toys.
Okay. Are you sure it's in Vine Grove, Kentucky?
No. They're saying it's in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. So I don't know.
Because that don't look like that was okay. Vine Grove is northwest of Elizabethtown.
I don't know. I just know what Google Maps told me.
Do you know what road it's on? Let's find this together. We must find it. St. James Cemetery is there. Should we go this way? Because if you just put in Casey Cemetery, it takes you to Hardin Memorial Park. And that isn't it. What if we just put cemetery? Watch it not even be on the maps. Watch it not even be on here. It's not. It's not even. It's so old and abandoned it's not even marked. If it's not marked, that's weird.
Yeah.
Because look, all the cemeteries are marked. St. John's. Let me know what road it's on. But it's there. Bay Area Ghost. What road is it on? Can you tell me the road? Because if you tell me the road, I bet I can find it. Let's just ask Google, what road is Casey Cemetery on in Kentucky? Aha! Found it. I should just learn how to Google better. So it is not in Elizabethtown?
He said just Google Casey Cemetery, Elizabethtown, Kentucky, and you'll get several hits.
It doesn't. That's not Elizabethtown, is it? But I found it. It's in the middle of nowhere, dude. Nowhere. It's in nowhere. It's not. I don't see Elizabethtown near this. So you're going to let me know if this is it. That looks like it.
Wow.
That looks like it. It's in BFE, bro. Is this it? Bay Area Ghost? Is this it? Because I want to know. Boy, it's in the middle of nowhere. Let me know if this is it. It's next to Hell's Half Acre. Furry Friends. Furry Friends. What's that? It's probably a pet daycare. Something. So, my best friends lived in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. Oh.
I'm not from Kentucky. They said.
Okay. So, this is where they say it is. Where was Elizabethtown at? I can't even find where Elizabethtown was in relation to Casey Cemetery. Anyway, I shall save it. Star it. So I will be able to find it when I pop up Google Maps.
It's at the end of St. John's Road, Amber McCurt said.
It's at the end of St. John's Road. So this must not be it because this is Renacre Berry Road. St. John's Road.
In Elizabethtown, Kentucky.
Okay. Here's St. John's Road. It's at the end. Does this dead end?
I don't know.
It dead ends here.
If you Google what I posted here, you will get all of the info you need. Bay Area Ghost said. This thing is uncomfortable. It hurts my butt.
So, just Google what I posted here. Okay, just Google Casey.
Casey Cemetery, Elizabethtown, Kentucky.
I did that, and it didn't find it for me.
She said it will give you several hits.
It's given me like Facebook, websites. It's not giving me like an address. I guess I have to read through the websites to see if they give like...
I guess so.
Grandview Cemetery, also known as Casey Cemetery. So it's really called Grandview Cemetery. That is very, very helpful. Uh-oh. Pretty sure I found it. So it's called Grandview Cemetery. And it's at the end of St. John's Road, like they said. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's not called Casey Cemetery. It's Grandview Cemetery. That looks better. Huh. Yep. It's if you took Moonville Cemetery and Elizabeth's grave and mixed it together, this is what you get.
Yep.
So let's save this, star this, see where it's at. Grandview Cemetery. There's a lot of cemeteries called Grandview, that's for sure.
Your live has gotten blurry.
That's because of your internet connection. Try to refreshing it. Yeah. 3.5 hours away. Jesus. 3.5 hours away. Well, at least I know where it is now. Waverly Hills. This one is not the right one. Or that's Octagon Hall. Never mind. Let's see what this is. Waverly Hills. I must have started somewhere. Octagon Museum. Bear with me. So yeah, I'll just leave that there. At least we found it.
Yeah.
At least we found it. All right. It's called Grandview Cemetery, not Casey Cemetery. That must be a nickname that the paranormal community has given it. I was Googling Casey Cemetery, and it's not even the name of it. It happens. It happens. Like Elizabeth's grave is not... That's not what it's called. It's Union Cemetery. That's the name of it.
You're fine, Maisie. She said, I'm so sorry about this. Like, no. Fine.
Yep. But yeah, the health of the stream says excellent from my side. But yeah, that's a cool suggestion. I'm glad that someone had brought that up because I've never heard of it. But there's a whole bunch of these cemeteries all over that have their stories and their legends. It's also a belief of mine that when you go to these places and people flock to these places looking for ghosts and, investigating the claims and stories, see if they're true, they're actually feeding their own psychokinetic energy into it, which could create psychokinetic manifestations. which is a whole new thing. We're making places haunted. But you have to ask yourself, why would a ghost hang out in a cemetery? I can't think of a reason.
Why
Can
would a
you?
ghost hang out in an asylum? Why would a ghost hang out in a jail?
All the same question. I have my theory. I believe psychonauts are extracting the quantum information and assimilating it into their reality. They're manifesting it. They're extracting the information out of the environment, and it's becoming active. You're activating the information. We've had this discussion, right, Missy?
Yep.
Yeah.
We have.
You know, you go into a hospital, an asylum, a TB ward, what have you. Why are there ghosts in there? Well, there's ghosts in the machine. You are pulling it out. That's a theory. Don't know if that's true. I'm not aware any other names. If you're interested, Casey Cemetery is the name that was given when it became a cemetery is Grandview. But the name that it has acquired over the years since it's become an urban legend is Casey Cemetery. So those are the difference, how the different names happen. So just like the one I was speaking about earlier, Elizabeth's grave is named that because of the urban legends about Elizabeth's story. So there must be a story about Casey at that cemetery.
She said it's an ancient belief that the dead linger in cemeteries.
Well, they do physically. But the question is, do they spiritually? So, you could. Like, when I asked the question, why would you hang out in a cemetery? If you become attached or are unwilling to let go your physical remains or your physical self, you can find yourself lingering in the area where you are buried. That would be plausible. And there may be a community of people that feel the same way, a community of spirits that feel the same way, and they're all in the same place. So there might be a community of folks like that.
Oh, that makes sense. It was the Casey family cemetery.
Okay. There must be other families. Is it just Casey's family, or is there other families? Because it looked pretty large. It looked pretty big. Take a look here.
I like that theory, Justin Phillips said.
Like that what?
Theory.
Oh. I mean, we don't know, man. We can just think of why. Like if you ever watched What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams in it, it's based off a novel, favorite movie of all time. His wife mourned for her dead husband at a cemetery, and he was there. So at the cemetery, and you have to ask yourself, you may linger there because maybe you are caught endlessly, pondering, trying to deal with your own, circumstance of being deceased and not wanting to move on. Like, that is a real possibility. Like, you have to think about it. You really got to think about it. Like an example that Philip might get, Damar Hamlin, when he almost died or did die and got brought back at Paycor Stadium. The year later, when they played the Bills, after the game, he was seen on the field all alone in a vacant stadium where he died and got brought back.
Yep.
So he lingered in the place where he died, thinking about his own mortality, thinking about that moment. So if that's a thing, it definitely
I'm-
could be a thing.
I've never done that.
Done what?
Laid in the place where I can't lay there.
Oh, okay. So some people, that thought wouldn't pass their mind.
Right.
Some it does.
I never even, the thought never even crossed my mind.
Do you think it's possible to connect with someone who has a plot at a cemetery but no remains? You know how many we've connected with and no remains. I think the same goes for if there's a plot there with no grave. I think if that's where they were supposed to go.
Well,
We're-
now, like with my uncle, we took his ashes
Mhm.
and put them in a little vial and drilled a hole into grandma's headstone and put his ashes in it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So there's no plot, there's no name, but he's there.
His ashes, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like we don't know, obviously, but a lot of people seem to generally feel like there's not a whole lot of space and time going on in the afterlife. But you can connect with folks that have passed at certain places. Is it because you go to those places to connect? And since there's such a visceral connection with the place they're buried and their physical remains, and that correlating with their spirit, is that why they connect at those locations and not others? I feel like there's a really high possibility that's true, but they're not physically there or spiritually there. Their physical remains are there, but spiritually, your spirit can't reside on the physical plane unless they're stuck in between. So if they're stuck, the saying goes earthbound. That means that they're still on the earth, but not in physical form. That's got to be like really bad. That can't be good. Because that's a whole nother show. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'll put that on the poll. But we've reached the hour. I'll tell you what, guys. This has been a great show. I think we've had really cool engagement, really cool comments. You guys have been awesome. I feel like the topic was definitely, thought-provoking and worth chatting about. That's my daughter laughing in the background. But thanks, Missy. I'm going to wrap this up. Like I said, you guys are great. I'm going to try to get the poll up on the poll is found. If people from YouTube want to find my poll, it's on my Facebook page and on the Necromancer Live Facebook page. If you don't do Facebook, let me know in the chat right now from YouTube, and I will put the poll up on YouTube. If you want me to put the poll up on YouTube so you can vote there and only there, let me know and I will do that for you guys, because I know a lot of people watch from YouTube. So let me know. But thanks a lot. Social medias. This is where you can find all of our content. Like I said, our polls are on Facebook. Not Interface Death. I need to put Necromancer up there now that but it's in the video description, so check that out. But you can see that our website is not up there, but I'll put it in the thing so you guys can see if you want to go check out our website. Patrons. In the video description, you can find the link to our Patreon. Thank you so much for our patrons. Honestly, if we're not supported through Patreon, I don't know if we can not only afford the graphics and everything you're seeing on the live stream, just the incentive to just keep going. Your poll, LOL. Yeah. Poll. There you go. Yeah. The place where you vote for the topics. If you want them on YouTube, let me know. Joseph Moore said YouTube. All right. So yeah, check out our Patreon if you want to find out to support us there, it is greatly appreciated. You guys have a good night. Have a good week, good weekend. We'll put up the potential topics on YouTube and Facebook so you guys can vote and figure out what's the best topic to talk about, because really it's all about you guys and what you guys want to talk about. You have a good one. We'll see you next time. We have been peering into shadow for 5 long years, struggling to see what lurks in the night. Working from the ground up and collaborating with hundreds of paranormal investigators, we have been able to develop a product that not only became the best night vision illuminator on the market, but became the last light that our customers would purchase for the rest of their lives.
What Deadlight has done for me as an investigator has really kind of changed the gamut of how we investigate, because before Deadlight, you used to get the little wonky lights you buy off of, offline and stuff like that, which sometimes didn't always work. They were really glitchy. You guys sent me some Deadlights. I used them for Paranormal Warehouse. We did some filming for Epic Haunts, and I'm blown away.
I think the quality of the merchandise that you get from Deadlight LLC, I think is top notch. The fact that it's handmade, by Josh, and the quality of it, and the craftsmanship that he puts into it, the time and effort that he puts into it, speaks volumes when the merchandise is received. The fact that he honored all of his work, pretty much lifetime guarantee to fix it if something goes wrong, I think stands out too. The quality of the product and the customer service is top notch.
Whether you are a seasoned investigator or a beginner, Deadlight has a lighting solution tailored to your needs and your equipment. Deadlight is made for all who are not afraid to see what lurks in the night.